And welcome everybody. Don Giannetti. I'm here with Derrick Rose. Derrick, where are you headed now? I mean, where are you living?
I'm living in Little Rock, Arkansas.
All right. Now you're a working full-time person. You've got a job,
I
but you're
am the director of communications for a place called the Arkansas Development Finance Authority. Been doing communications and outreach now for 35 years at this place, and started off as assistant to the assistant to the director, and now I'm director of communications. So I've been doing that for 20 years.
and you took Project 52.
Took Project 52 in 2020 during the height of COVID, when we were all trying to figure out what to do with our lives. And I had extra time. My side hustles had all gone away. And I thought this is the time to improve my photography past astrophotography and landscape and maybe a bit of architectural back in those days, and figure out if I could make money with a camera. And I've always loved photography, took it in college, and have done some of the stuff for my agency. And what I couldn't do, I would hire out. If I needed headshots for the board or staff, you'd hire the professional photographer to come in and do the real stuff, and I would just get the newsletters out and that sort of thing.
Well,
But
that's excellent.
yeah, so back in 2020, decided to start with Project 52, and had not done any of the tabletop type photography or product photography. And I think I owned one strobe at the time. That was it. I had my A7 III and one strobe, and started the class. And now I'm sitting on 4 strobes and, I don't know, a half dozen constant lights and a bunch and an entire plethora of mini LEDs that I've come to enjoy. And but I got into it just out of skills development. I needed to grow my skills past just doing some landscape and what we finance housing. So shooting a first-time home buyer or in their house and that sort of thing. And I've really, it's come a long, long way. I'm pleased with what I've been able to do. With Project 52, no, you're not exactly giving us directions on how to light it. We have to scrap and figure out how to light something, because you reminded us an awful lot of times there's 10 ways to do every project, and your way isn't necessarily the right way. So learn it on your own. And
Yep.
I've kind of, I don't know, maybe I've put that astrophotography twist on a lot of my stuff. I kind of like that dark, colorful purple and blue lighting, and then so I can see it kind of ekes its way into a lot of my photography. So you can see here on my website what I have, where I'm at. And this is pretty close to where I'm at right now with my photography, things that I could not have dreamed of shooting 3 years ago when I started P52. The subtle lighting techniques, how to get rid of those weird shadows, and
It's beautiful work, Derrick. Beautiful work.
That was one of my first projects. Right there was the
Flowers.
yep, the flowers. Went to a florist and met the florist, and that was, I think, one of my first or second project that I ever did.
Yep. Yeah. Florist is up in at the beginning. At the stranger, the florist, those are generally at the beginning. It's great work. Um, what was your favorite take? I mean, what favorite assignment or what was your favorite thing about Project 52?
I'm trying to
What
think.
what did I do really right? That's my point.
Um, we get feedback, and I think it isn't necessarily any one particular. I'm trying to think of one particular assignment, but the feedback that we get from that assignment is where we get the value. We go back and we shoot again if it's not right. Being able to have some direction from where you started, so that you're able to get a shot, in a way that you're proud of. So maybe you've shot it and it's not where you want to go. and you're saying, you know what, you're going to have to put a black card on the right, and you're going to have a white card in the front, or you need an extra strobe, or you need some spray behind that bottle. All of those types of things where you really learn what you missed in the first shot.
Yep.
I think
And then that you extrapolate out for the next assignment, and extrapolate out for the next assignment.
yes,
I'm a believer that I could get my softbox. I could set my camera up and say, okay, if you're going to light a beer, put your softbox here and put a card here and put this back here, and this is how we light a beer. The problem is that's as far as it goes, and as you well know, there's 100 ways to light a beer, and if you have access to all the tools and you're in a studio, great, you can do whatever, but sometimes you're on location and you still have to make that beer look good.
yeah.
And so I try to teach finding the solutions rather than dropping back on the learning by rote. Learn to think the solution through.
But I think where the value comes in is the feedback we get
Yeah.
from the assignments. First of all, I wouldn't have thought to even shoot 70% of the assignments that you asked us to shoot. So there's one thing, having a direction, and because I didn't have any. So at this point, I don't know that there's anything that I couldn't probably shoot and get away with if someone hired me to do it. I'm trying to think of a project that I don't think I could build.
You got it. There's nothing that would. I mean, well, I don't want to say there's nothing that would stop you, because or give you heartburn. I don't think it'd stop you, but give you heartburn because, I still get heartburn on some, if it's doing assignments. I mean, you always get a little bit of if the tingle goes away, you're probably not pushing yourself,
Right.
If it's like, oh yeah, anyway. But I can't think of a job that you couldn't handle.
I mean, put me in a log cabin with a brown wood interior and tell me I got to get that whole thing lit up evenly. Man, that might give me a heart attack with my current, I have to go rent some more lights probably, but
see, you know what to do.
well, true. I wouldn't even know where to start 2 years ago with that kind of a project. At this point, I would probably, instead of renting lights, I would shoot four corners and do it in post. And, it would be four separate pictures to get the room lit.
Yep.
But, the glass, making something like this one look good where you're doing the rum that's a tough shot. You don't realize how tough a shot like that is until you try to do that delicate grade on a glass full of semi-opaque liquid.
Yeah. And you've always got your little quirky lighting things going on. So it's
yeah, I love strobes, and I love those little mini LEDs.
yes, you do love those little mini LEDs. You like carry them around in your pocket all day.
I do. I really do. But I have learned the value of a great scrim. And, it took me a year past the first Project 52. I kind of sat through that second one. And the first one I did without a scrim. I was doing it with soft boxes. I can't believe the value of having a 4x4 scrim to shoot products. It's daylight and dark. I mean, it's one of those things that I'm not sure that doesn't need to be right in the beginning of a class. Is that okay? You can have a strobe, but you better get a scrim. And that's one of those things. It's unbelievable that the level of work, how it goes up when you get that scrim when you're doing tabletop stuff.
Oh, the amount of control is amazing.
Yeah.
So would you recommend Project 52 to someone?
I would absolutely recommend anybody that wants to raise their skills. If they're worried about their skills development, if they want to take it to another level, I think if you're on a scale from 1 to 10, if you start off, and I think probably on a scale from 1 to 10, I started off, I don't know, maybe a 3, 2.5. And within the end of the year, I was maybe a 6.5 or 7, and I feel like I'm closer to 8, 8.5 now on just a scale from 1 to 10.
Yep.
I certainly think I've got plenty, the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know. And I think I knew everything 3 years ago.
Yep.
And
And
now
you
I
know
think,
that tends on a moving target because ain't nobody gets there.
yeah.
We just keep pushing.
Yeah, the more you know, the more you realize how far behind you are. And so there's just man, there's always more money to spend and bigger things to shoot. And that's kind of where I'm at this point. I'd still like to get that first big client. And yet I'm really my own biggest client right now. Like I say, we're in the process of updating and doing a $60,000 website renovation at my office. And I've already told them I'm going to be providing all of the images for that. And they're good with it. Before, I would have had to hire a photographer for probably 75% of that. And this time I'm going to be the guy that does it. Not only that, that's part of my portfolio when I leave in a year or so, because I'm going to have done all of the photography for that website. And so in a way, I'm my own best client right now. And I'm getting to do those things that I wouldn't get to do otherwise. And, a lot of this is catch 22. You can't get a gig until you've got something to show for it, but you gotta get a gig to have anything to show. And you're in that. Well, I'll have that to show, and it will have been done, and I will have done it. So I'm kind of excited for that project. And I do have another website I'm working on for another client that I'm providing all of his photography for a consulting business. So I'm doing some work on the side, and it's I'm excited to get to do it, and I'd like to do more.
You will.
But I'm proud of the images and where I'm at now versus where I was at 3 years ago.
Yeah. It's a tremendous change, and it's still fun, folks, when Derrick comes on and shows us the astral photography. We love that stuff. Milky Way out in the middle of Nebraska there.
And then, of course, I don't know what's wrong with me with mushrooms. So something about
Oh God,
mushrooms,
yes,
photography. I don't.
there's a book there, Derrick. You've got a
Mushrooms.
book of
It
mushrooms.
is hard to take a picture of a mushroom with the Milky Way in the background. I can just tell you. I've not seen one of those yet.
I'm sure there's going to be one soon.
You'd have to have a big damn mushroom. That's all I know.
That's true. Derrick, thank you so much for saying some kind words about Project 52.
You're welcome.
And
like I say, I think the overall experience, you're selling as much overall experience. You're selling, you're networking with the other students. That is something else that's invaluable. Just the P52 Facebook group, whether it was on Facebook or anywhere else, it wouldn't matter. That is a special group of people. Some of the work I'm so jealous of. Jennifer Arce just kills me. Her work is beautiful, and just the ability to get to watch her and think, all right, I got to be able to do that because I went out, if she's killing me, I want to tilt shift Lynn so bad I can't stand it. So anyway, that's something else that you can't get anywhere else. And to watch somebody who has incredible work, who's been through our same class, and she's just done what you said to do. Whereas, like I said, I've had my side hustles and I've let the marketing go to the side. I'm gonna get into that side of it, but I've watched her do it, so I know it can absolutely be done.
Yep. I appreciate it, Derrick.
You're welcome.
You take care.
You too. Take P52. It's awesome class, and I promise it's an experience that you will love.
I like the way you think.